Good. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, welcome to class. We were chatting quite a bit about other things, so we're starting a little late today. But so coming up for all Apple users, which looks like most of us are today, all of us are today, Apple's annual Worldwide Developers Conference is coming up on June 5th. You can see up on the screen. And that is when they typically announce the new operating systems for their devices. So for the iPhone, it will be iOS 11. It won't come out, but that's when they'll announce it. It comes out in the fall when the new phone releases, or around the time the new phone releases. So they'll announce the new operating system and all the, well, maybe not all, but most of the major features that they're excited to introduce and try to show why it's better than Android. But they may also do product reveals as well for maybe a new MacBook or different things like that. There's some anticipation that the Mac Pro, which is the actual desktop tower style that Apple runs. They've not updated it in years. And so there's some rumors that will be updated. And that thing is several $1,000s, even the lowest end model of that.
This is a MacBook Pro that I purchased maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to work fine. Would there be any reason that I would want to perhaps upgrade it?
Not really. Liz had a MacBook Pro also, and hers is 8 years old, and hers was still
this
running
does
fine.
Everything that it did when I bought it.
Yep. Yeah. Hers was starting to slow down a little bit, and she was thinking maybe in the next year or so, and so that would be about an 8 or a 9-year-old computer, and that's one of the benefits of buying Apple is their products usually have a long shelf life.
With my iPhone, this is a 5. From time to time when I go to the phone, I just get a blank white page. And I hold down this button and the button on the top, which I think resets the
Reboots the phone. Yep.
And then it kind of comes back. But maybe it's when the power is low. I noticed that it's more frequent when it's in the 30% range. That might be related.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It could be a little bit of a software glitch. But yeah, if rebooting it fixes it and it's not a huge issue, then I
get around it.
I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
I am thinking seriously of getting the iPhone 8 when it comes out, just because.
Yeah, well,
just because.
Yeah.
What's the price on it?
$1,000.
It'll be unless they do something drastically different, it'll be the same price range that their new phone is.
$1,000 and $1,100 depending upon this.
Well, but if you think, I mean, this, because it's the Plus, is in that more expensive price range. When people say $1,000, and I think people are so accustomed to hearing either the monthly rate, of $38 a month, and so then you don't really think how much that adds up to, or they think you buy it in contract price and you're paying the $199 or $299, and you think that's all the phone is.
No.
But people don't realize that you're locked in for 2 years and that you're actually paying for it throughout those 2 years. So either way, you're paying for the full price of the phone.
Well, the only advantage of going on the monthly contract is there's no interest.
Yep.
The net present value is less than $1,000 when you do the math on that.
Yep.
So if you do the month, and I think this is what you said, so if you do like $200, you buy it into $200. Because I can do that right now with my carrier, through Verizon.
Yeah, and it's a contract, though. Then you're locked into Verizon for the next 2 years.
Yeah, but you don't pay any more on the telephone, though, do you? Or do you pay? That's what I missed what you said.
They add those fees into your monthly bill. So So they say, okay, it's $200 for the phone, but because they've got you locked in, then your monthly bill of your unlimited minutes and your unlimited
$45.
texting and your data,
Yeah.
that there's a little more in there that helps throughout those 2 years that you're locked in to pay for the price of the phone.
So
Which is why if you break your contract,
they want all of it back.
then you have to pay the remaining it's not the entire 2 years, but
What is
basically they're getting their money on the phone back when you break contract.
So like I pay $45 a month.
Yes.
That they would take some of that $45 a month and make it pay onto the telephone, or do they?
Yeah,
give
part
me
of
$45
that.
plus some more money, like $12 a month on top of that.
Well,
That's what
it's all built in, and they don't really make it clear.
that's why
But
I'm-
part of it is.
Okay.
Part of what you're paying helps cover the cost of the phone. You're just even though it sounds like you're just paying $199 or $299, day
Yes.
of.
Yes.
Through those fees and taxes and everything,
Going
you
beyond
eventually are paying the full price of the phone. No matter what. Either way you look at it, you're paying the full price of the phone.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're saying less money if you go that route as opposed to buying it forward out to start with.
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
just say
it's
$1,000.
either, you can pay the $200 up front and be locked in for 2 years. And some people are okay with that because they don't care about switching providers. Or you pay just a monthly fee for 2 years and you can take your phone wherever you want, whenever you want. You just still have to pay that monthly fee. If you bought it through Verizon,
Yeah.
then you're still paying that monthly fee to Verizon for just the price of the phone. And then you can go over to AT&T or Sprint or T-Mobile.
Okay,
And then you pay AT&T, Sprint, or T-Mobile for your
the rest of the
service.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, if you upgrade, Bob, you can look at buying through the store or buying through Apple's website and do the monthly payments through Apple.
I think the numbers are about the same.
They're about the same. And there's benefits and, drawbacks to either one.
You have a larger phone than
I did. I got the plus size.
Does that fit in your shirt pocket okay?
It depends on which shirt pocket I'm wearing. So this one, it fits, sticks out a little bit, but it fits. But one of my other shirts, it's got, I think it's the shirt pocket where it's got like that little extra.
With
For the band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. It's got the little pin, little notch, and it does not fit in that one.
Would you go back to the smaller one? Or you gotta
I was
What page is he on to do that?
I was just listening to a.
It's like with Google.
It's just Google search, yeah. I was just listening to a podcast this morning on the way into work, and they were saying that one of the rumors is that the next iPhone that should be coming out in the fall,
yeah.
the 8 or what anniversary phone or X, because it's the 10th iteration or the 10th year, not the 10th iteration, won't have this button on the home button anymore. Of course, this one it technically isn't a button anymore anyway, but it's still got the little recess part that shows it's a circle. The rumor is that will be gone. There'll still be that option there, but that it'll just be completely flush with the rest of the phone. And that every single iPhone has always had these black bars on the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
That all of that will be screen space. So, with that in mind, the smaller phone could have the actual real estate, so to speak, of this size phone because of these black bars.
Mhm.
So the smaller size would have actually this size screen, and then this screen would have this much screen.
Much more.
So, so if it does that, I'll think about it. It won't be
And what I like about this
snap
is the
decision.
convenience of it being in the pocket.
Yeah, and if they do that option where if they do really go to the OLED screen, the organic LED, which is what they would need to do to get that full screen option, then yeah, you could have the smaller size but have so much more actual viewing space of the actual screen. So, and then I think the only other consideration I would take into account is, and that's part of the reason why I went with this phone, is because of the dual camera and being able to do take better pictures with this. There's just yesterday we were out in the backyard playing in the water with Aubrey, and I used the portrait mode, which is the one where it blurs the background, and use that on the Plus one, because it's got the two cameras, can do that, whereas Becca's regular one only has the single lens. So I'll have to see what options and incentives they have for buying the bigger phone. And I just really liked that. And it has 2 times optical because of the 2 lenses. So I can zoom twice as close and still have it be an optical zoom, not a digital zoom. Because when you zoom in digitally, you're increasing the size of the pixels, and so the quality of the picture isn't as good.
Degraded.
Yeah, yep. And then with optical, there's no change in quality. It's the...
So it will have a better optical.
Yeah, this one does, yeah. I can do a 2 times optical zoom, so I can zoom in twice as close on
And the
things.
new 8 might be even better.
It could be, yeah. Yep.
'Cause that's a 7 Plus, right?
What about battery life?
Battery life, Apple really has not, in any of their devices, really done dramatic changes in battery life. So I do not anticipate anything to be dramatically different with in regards to battery. They'll probably tout I think it's typical is 10 hours for devices. And then depending on how much you do with them will, and what you do. Watching a video will drastically reduce it compared to surfing the internet.
So I thought that they were going to Apple, you'll be probably more aware of, that I thought Apple was putting in a solar thing to like a trickle charge all the time in your phone. I thought that was part of the newer step up in that, or on the wrong phone.
No, there's rumors. I don't know about solar, but a lot of people have been talking about using technology where I could, just set my phone on my nightstand, and the actual plug is over here and not actually plugging into the device, but because of the near field communication, it's trickle charging without even being plugged in.
Oh, I thought they already had that.
No. There might be some other device. There's some other devices that have what they call wireless charging, where you've got the plugs into this little pad, and then you just lay your phone on top of that pad, and then it charges. So you're not plugging the cord into the phone. My watch, the Apple Watch, this is the back, and it actually has a magnetic circle that just magnetically attaches onto there and charges it. So it's induction charging. And so the watch already does that. And that's kind of like the wireless charging that's happening right now. It's not really wireless, but it's different.
Tesla, not the car, but the guy back in the turn of the century,
Yes.
had proposed a method of transmitting electricity wirelessly. That's really never happened, but I guess this is an example of where they're doing it with very, very low amperage. Very low
Yeah, and with that kind of not this kind or the one with the phones, but that near one, it'd be a very slow charge. It's not going to be, you plug your phone in, it's charged in a half hour to an hour. That near closeness one would just be a trickle charge. So it's almost like you could be on your phone without being plugged in, and you would probably, depending on what you're doing, probably maintain whatever charge you're at. Yeah. So one of the other things that people are really hoping for and expecting at WWDC is Google Home or Amazon Alexa style Apple device powered by Siri. So you ask Siri.
So Apple's going to get in that market.
Apple's going to get in that market. So they already have the Apple TV, which does a little bit of that stuff, but they think Apple's going to have a full home automated assistant that will connect to your smart devices, that will, do all the other things, tell you the news, and weather and recipes and whatever else it is that you want Siri to, and it'll obviously be powered by Siri as the voice assistant. Connect to your phone, and calendars, notes, all of those things will sync across to each other, so you can talk to your Siri home device, whatever they're going to call it. They probably won't call it Siri Home because it's Google Home. So whatever they decide to call it, will have all of those same things that your other Apple devices do. So you can check your mail, check your calendar, check your notes. You could probably even send, if they are really coming out with it, you could probably send messages. If you've got the phone, you can probably tell the home device to send a message to, your son or daughter-in-law, and then it would notify you that you've got a message, and you just say, read it, because right now you can have Siri read your text messages to you if you get a new one.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I don't have a new one, but you just say,
If I
hey,
get a new what?
what?
I need to get a new what? New phone?
Um,
Or new Siri?
no, well, yours would have to be, no, you just hold down the home button. It's probably because I said it, Richard, and probably because you've not done the voice thing for yours, so it only recognizes your voice. So anytime I say, hey, so-and-so, she'll probably answer me. So if you hold down the home button, doesn't Siri start? So if you just hold that down and you say, read my texts.
It'll do that now?
Yep, she'll read your text message. She should.
Can I do that on mine?
Yep.
Now, you obviously just made my thing do something over here, and
Yeah.
I'm completely lost because I've been trying to talk to this sucker when the microphone comes up, and it sort of listens.
Yeah, you just say,
part-time.
hey, Siri.
Hey Siri.
She answered. Nope. She answered on my my watch. She didn't pop up. It started to pop up on my phone, and then my watch took control of answering.
So
But yeah.
how do I set that up on mine?
You go into your settings, and
Into Apple settings? Into,
yeah. So you go into settings.
I'm there.
Nope. Settings, and then you scroll down to Siri. So it's like 4 down from general.
Mm-hmm.
And then, first Siri has to be
Not in
turned
mine.
on.
Out of mine.
There's no Siri option. It might be too old then.
It's only 3 years old.
I know. And then the allow, hey, you know who,
Yeah.
is turned on.
Yeah, ASIRI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I download that program to this thing?
No, it's specific to newer devices.
Well,
So if you hold down the home button, you can still do it to a degree, Richard, but you have to hold down the home button.
Just a little button right there.
Yep, the physical.
Hey Siri, what time is it in Moscow?
Well, you got to give her.
In Moscow, Russia, it's 9:28 p.m.
There you go.
Well, I can do that. It'll read my email.
Yep, email
Yes.
or text message. If someone texts you and you're driving, and you hear the text or you feel it buzz in your pocket, you can just.
Series?
Okay, here are some TV shows on the iTunes Store.
I know that.
yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
hear
So when
that.
I'm driving, I'll ask her to read my text messages, and then you can even.
Now, how many will it read until you tell her to stop?
No. It'll only read your unread, which is why I can't ask her to read one right now. It'll only read. So if you get a new one and you just have the one, or if the same person sent you 2 in a row, then it'll read both of them, and then she'll say, "Would you like to reply?" And then you can say yes or no, and then if you say yes, then she'll ding at you again like she dings
Or
at,
reply.
and then you verbally reply out loud, and she will record your reply. And if you're hooked, this is what I've discovered, if you're hooked up to your Bluetooth in your car, then she will read the reply back to you to verify what you said. If you are not hooked up to Bluetooth and you're just using it, she won't read it back to you. You can read what it says on the screen, but I think she knows she's hooked up to Bluetooth, and so assumes that you're in a position to not be able to read it.
So, okay, I can say, hey, SI,
Yeah.
read my emails.
Yeah.
And then she will read my unread emails.
Yes.
So one of them happens to be from Brian.
Yeah.
So I could say, how would I command her to reply to you?
She would just ask for, if it's just the one email from me.
Well, let's say there's several from different.
I've not tried it when I've had several to reply to an email. Replying to, and usually I've just received that one new text message while I'm in the car from one person. So I've not tried to reply when there's been multiple messages. So I honestly have not.
So there's probably a way of doing that.
I'm sure there is, yeah. Yeah. Or it may be that she reads one and asks you if you want to reply before going to the next new one.
Listen to what you have
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, and she has a good job of prompting. Like I said, after she reads the text message, she will say, "Would you like to reply?" And you say yes or no.
So what else do you use, Hey Sue? Hey. I assume she's in here someplace.
Well, she's right here. Well, she's there and on my wrist, actually. That's probably what I use her the most for. But like you can check the weather. You can check a sporting event. If you knew that the Seahawks played last night, then you can.
I would assume I could also ask for directions to a specific
Yep.
location.
Yep. Yeah, I do that.
Directions
You're
to
right. I
Faith
do
Lutheran
that.
Church.
Mm-hmm. You got to be. You have to be careful with church names because.
There's several.
Well, not just that, but when I try to, and maybe it's just the way I talk, I don't know. I mean, we all have our different nuances in the way that we've learned to speak, but every time I've tried to get her, especially with, because, my daughter goes to Gloria Dei. Siri has no idea what I'm saying when I say Gloria Dei. And I keep, when you arrive at your destination, she'll tell you the name of the destination. I keep forgetting how she pronounces it to try to pronounce it that way when getting directions there.
Yeah.
So, and like oftentimes when I say, or when I'm trying to call the church, if I'm on the road and, telling Kathy I'm going to be late or that I'm, stopping to see someone on the way back instead of coming straight back or whatever it is. And I'll say, hey, you call Faith Lutheran Church. She, 80% of the time, even though it's in my contacts, will hear the word face instead of faith. And so there's nuances.
So I could,
That-
when it's in my Bluetooth,
Yeah.
I could press and hold this. I wonder
And then
if
she'll beep.
I wonder if it will come over the speaker in my Bluetooth. Probably,
As long as it's hooked up to it.
right? So
Yep.
and then I could ask her to dial a particular number.
Correct. Yep.
Or I should be using this more than I do.
Yeah, and if you, at least in I'm going to admit that different cars react different ways to our devices, phone or tablet, that are hooked up to our cars. But in my circumstance, if someone calls me, I have to remember every time that I have to push the answer button on the dashboard of my car, on the stereo, and not on the phone, because if I push answer on the phone, it assumes I want to answer as a phone and not through the car.
I've got a little button on my steering wheel.
Yeah. Mine was aftermarket, so the
Yeah.
button is just on the thing. But, my phone sits there in the console next to me, and so I look who's calling, and then I swipe, and then for the first 10 seconds, I'm still forgetful that I can't hear them because it's coming through the speaker on my phone and not through the Bluetooth of the car.
Well, the Bluetooth in the car is pretty good because on the
Yeah.
screen it indicates Brian Mon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Assuming I've got your name in my directory.
Correct. Yep. So, yeah. You can, if you've got music on your phone or an app, you can tell her to launch an app for you. So if I want to listen to my podcast, I can say, hey, you launch Pocket Casts is the name of the app that I have, and I have to unlock it because I've got the device lock feature enabled, and so I just put my thumb down while I'm driving with the other hand watching the road because I know where my phone is, and push my thumbprint down and it unlocks, and then she launches Pocket Casts for me, and we're often listening to podcasts.
I downloaded an app called TuneIn Radio.
Yep.
Because in the morning I'm doing my exercise bike and I want to listen to the radio, and it
Yep.
has maybe a half a dozen stations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there
NPR
a
is
different
one of
app that you might recommend?
TuneIn's a great one.
Is it?
Yeah. No, it's a really good one. I mean, if there's things that you specifically want to listen to, then you could probably download those apps as well. Like TuneIn has NPR, I believe. But
Well, it's got our local radio station,
Mm-hmm.
iFiber 1.
Yep.
It has an NBC or CBS one. It has a Fox one. It's got one called The Economist, which is really kind of interesting.
I've heard The
I didn't
Economist.
see.
Yep.
And it's a little bit more technical on the economy, I guess.
Right.
But they're all good.
Yeah.
But I also noticed when I tune into them, I get the same commercial that starts. Apparently, that's a commercial put on by TuneIn,
Mm-hmm.
not by the radio
Correct.
station I'm
Yep.
listening
It's how you're able to use that wonderful service without paying for it. Yep. I mean, my only other suggestion is if there's something out there that you really want to listen to that's not on TuneIn and it's popular, then it probably has its own app.
Okay.
And so you could download that. Like I know NPR actually has 2 different apps. NPR One.
might be one to listen to.
And I just know.
Although so many of these have political slants one way or another.
Yep.
And
Well,
it
you
gets
can't-
frustrating.
You can't avoid people's.
I listen to the same event on 2 different stations, and it's as though it's a different event.
Yep. People viewing it from different perspectives. All right. Let's see.
If I wanted to download, that's SIRI
Yes.
here.
You cannot. It's not something you can.
It gives me all of that stuff.
Yeah, those are all things that.
That doesn't apply to what you're talking about then.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about the WannaCry ransomware?
Oh, tell us about it.
So if you don't have it, you're probably good to go.
Want to cry?
Wanna.
Oh,
Well, it's
I
want to.
I want to cry when I get
Yes.
it.
Yes. Exactly.
So, because I haven't heard, I don't.
Yeah. Give me just a
Yeah.
second.
Where's it coming in on? Mostly a Windows product.
Yes.
So if I stay with Apple, I'm not as vulnerable.
Not as vulnerable. I'm not going to say that.
I know. You're not.
Well, the thing you were showing on the screen earlier, what is it in reference to? Obviously, it's going to make them, if you
There we
do
go.
it, you're going to lose something.
Yes. Well, so it's this CNET website is not playing nice with my web browser. Anyway, it was hit something like 300,000 computers worldwide over last week, and it's ransomware, and so you're one, essentially you're locked out of your computer, and 2, if you don't pay, I think the average is $300 US in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a type of digital currency. Then,
So
well, if
Bitcoin you can direct funds to
wherever, to whomever.
or whatever.
Yes. Yep. And if you don't pay by a certain day, then they, for X number of days, they will back the day up again. But then the cost of unlocking your computer
But I don't
increases.
respond now. It's 325.
Or- yep,
350.
yep.
But what's the thing that gets, I don't know. I
So you
haven't heard-
pay the money.
No, but what's the thing, how you get to there in the first place?
It just
You
they
pick it up through some.
they just are able to get it into your computer through vulnerabilities.
So
There's nothing you click on. There's not an email you get. You just turn on your computer one day and it looks kind of like that.
Oh,
and see you've got the countdown timer and when you're gonna lose your files, and so on and so
Is there
forth.
a number they're asking for, a dollar amount on that?
Yeah, if you look where it says Bitcoin, and then right next to it in the yellow, it says $300 worth of Bitcoin to this address.
So how do you do that with Bitcoin? Comes out of your bank account?
Well, so then you go to Bitcoin and you convert your real cash into Bitcoin currency, Bitcoin coins, and then you send that payment to that address. And then
And how do
it's
you
almost
do-
like PayPal, where you just transfer
So
it.
some money, I would take money out of one of my accounts.
Yeah, so you take money out of you'd create a Bitcoin account. You'd get Bitcoins for however much money you convert.
So I put money in a Bitcoin account, and in return I get their fake currency.
Yes,
So that's how they're avoiding some of it.
yes, because it's
Right.
anonymous.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not.
And they're taking
Easily
a piece,
traceable.
They're taking a piece of
Well, Bitcoin does, yes, which is why, yeah, Bitcoin has been under scrutiny ever since it
the.
existed.
So it's about as unethical as the others.
And then you send it, and then they send you the unlock key to unlock your.
You know, how do they do that? They said you,
No.
doesn't matter.
It comes up on the screen, and then
You click on and
Well, yeah, see, it says check payment, and so once the payment has been confirmed, then you click the decrypt button, and now your computer's.
so how do you know?
But I don't think it worked. I don't think they actually unfroze it, took the money in.
Oh, real? And just.
Yeah, that was going to
Well-
be my next question. They take the money and run.
So now.
And they said globally they thought it was only about $80,000.
Yeah, it hasn't been that much. 93 is what this one says.
and
But
then
so
how did
that's.
they stop it?
So there is. Where'd it go? Nope, wrong one. There we go. I'll get there eventually. People have been working obviously really hard, and there is. It's called WannaKey or WannaKiwi. WannaKiwi works for Windows XP and for Windows 7 and Windows 2003 Server Edition. And so this is what this program does is it scans the ransomware for and I don't know all of this. This is just what I've heard and read. Is it scans for the binary numbers in the ransomware, and somehow that unlocks. It serves as the decrypt key and unlocks your device for free. But the huge catch of this is you cannot reboot your computer. Somehow, if you reboot your computer before you enter this code in, because some people think, oh shoot, I've been hacked, shut down, reboot, thinking that they'll get free of this. The problem is somehow in the rebooting, that decrypt key gets lost or
So they
randomized
really
or
have you in a very compromised position.
yes, yep. So you can either lose all your files or pay the ransom, or or you wait till it. If you're not concerned because you've backed it up somewhere else, then you just let the deadline go and then you just start your computer over from scratch.
So if you download that program that I'm reading up there, I think
Yeah.
Wanna something, whatever it says, Wanna
WannaKey.
key. If you put that into your computer, and I'm assuming this is Apple's as susceptible as everybody else.
Not as, but yes, it is still.
If you
susceptible.
downloaded that program and then this other issue comes in, will that stop it and not allow it to get into your computer?
No, this is just a key. So you're basically this ransomware, you're paying for a key, much like as if you were to buy a product and you get the product key
Oh, I
to
see.
activate it. This key is your activation code to unlock your computer. And so if it happened again, you'd reuse this again to find the key. WannaKey or WannaKiwi is apparently the one that works for more devices, though none of them have been generated for Macs because I don't believe any Mac has been infected with this.
Oh,
So how would
Ransomware.
that go into my PC? It would because I opened an email.
No, just vulnerabilities in your computer and
But
being
some of it-
constantly connected to the internet, then they just send it through your IP address, and it gets on your computer.
And I've done nothing to bring it about.
Nope. That's the big problem with ransomware right now.
Because, I got an email indicating you have a $50 gift certificate from
Oh
Costco.
yeah.
And then when I went up to the Costco, that little arrow, and looked at who sent it, it was something ending in UK or
Yeah.
some
Yep.
someplace
Yep.
around the world.
Yeah.
And they had it looked authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And click
They're
here
very
and
good
get
at
your $50 gift certificate.
Yep. The other new one that is happening right now is, have you heard of the company DocuSign? It allows you to digitally sign documents.
Yes.
Apparently, there's a scam going on right now with DocuSign fake accounts saying that, to finalize or to authorize this X, Y, or Z, please click on the link to sign to complete the form. And so if you're getting any DocuSign things, be very weary of clicking on the email, or you'll get
What
hacked.
was the name of that again?
WannaKey or WannaKiwi. WannaKiwi is apparently the one that does more operating systems. And this one was updated 11 hours ago, so they're continuing to work hard to keep it as up to date as possible.
Wanna kiwi, as in,
Like kiwi fruit.
okay.
And the WannaKey is because it's a key, and it's obviously in reference to the WannaCry, because that's the name of the ransomware that went out.
I'll check that one.
Yeah, that's that one.
So, Mark, you're saying
Ransomware.
that people are paying and it still doesn't solve the problem.
That's what
Yeah. So just, again, be careful, and if you do have a Windows PC at home and that does happen, do not shut it down, because that will erase the possibility of getting it off for free.
Well, I have a desktop at home and I shut it off. I only use it. I shut it off.
Right.
So what you're saying, if by doing that, am I stopping what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Possibly
If you're completely shut down, then you're not connected to the internet. If it's asleep or hibernation or whatever other things, or if it's just on, then you're connected to the internet, because that's what high-speed internet is you're just always connected to it.
Because I shut mine right off.
Yeah.
Right?
So if it's completely shut down, then there's no way for someone to access it. I believe. I mean, I don't want to speak with 100% certainty, but I believe because it's off and not connected that you are probably okay. On a much happier note, Apple stores are offering free events now. So you can start taking free classes from them at their stores.
They've been doing that all along, though, I think.
Well, but they're expanding it. So you can go. They're expanding it to different areas, and I know most of you probably won't be interested in this, but they are now going to start teaching free coding classes to children. So if kids are, I don't know up to what age, but kids, they'll start teaching coding. You can get free classes on your products. So
Are these online classes, or are they?
Some of them are in person. I think most of them are in store in person, but
So
I think
we got to go to.
you got to go to Tacoma. Yeah, that's the only issue, which is my problem right now. I did a little tech help. Oh, that's something else I'll tell you about in just a minute. My USB slot right here is, I don't know, it's acting up. I mean, it works, but I'll plug in my phone and iTunes will come up, and then iTunes will shut down because iTunes stays up, but the little logo of my phone or my iPad will, um, much like if something's not accessible, it's grayed out. So it'll gray out, and then it'll come full color, and then it'll gray out. So when it's grayed out and I try to click on it, nothing happens. And so it's just constantly connecting and disconnecting whatever device. I put in my external hard drive in there, and
it's more than one
Yep.
distal
Yeah.
device.
Yep. And I've used multiple.
Have you blown it out?
Yeah,
Mine was doing
that's
that.
what he.
Mine
Yeah.
was doing it with my phone, but I had a lint ball in my phone.
Yes, I've had that issue before. No, it's clear. And I talked to tech support, and he had me do some keyboard mashing combinations to reset the drivers on it, and it's still doing it. So they want me to take it in to see if they're assuming it's a hardware issue now, and if not, they'll still probably try the software stuff first, just to do due diligence. But then it's likely a hardware repair.
Mark, you're knowledgeable on political events. Is there any? I'm frustrated in trying to get accurate news on the internet. Any suggestion as to where I might get more accurate, fair reporting on events?
I think you just have to cast a wide net
Yeah.
and be skeptical.
I mean, I listen to Fox, I listen to NPR, I listen to ABC, CBS, and NBC, and I was listening to looking at web pages this morning about political events. It's almost as though it's a different event as to how they're reporting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, at one time I subscribed to the Christian Science Monitor
Yes.
years ago in print,
Mhm.
because they had a reputation of keeping their editorials to the editorial page.
Right.
Did you look at the BBC?
They do it.
BBC is pretty good.
They are
Which
pretty
is?
good.
BBC.
BBC.
Yeah, I watch BBC. I watch the BBC News in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have a website too. Al Jazeera, get the mirror image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought that NPR was the best way of going for the more politically correct. I maybe the wrong word, but I thought that they were supposed to be the best path walking on that.
They try, but I think in the political climate we're in, it's really difficult for most organizations to free themselves from their things have just become, I think for a while people were hoping that after Obama we'd have a much less polarized political climate,
we don't.
but we don't. No, it's just continuing to go down the polarized path, and the news agencies are right in there in the midst of it. So it's hard. You have to read the counterpoints, and basically, I mean, sometimes what I do is I just kind of take the two opposites and find the middle of the ground between the two and say, this is potentially what has happened or what's going on.
Our community club out there put on a series of inquiring minds seminars, and one of them recently was just called A Crazy Politics. But the guy was a professor from UW, and he seemed to know what he was talking about. And I was looking for a bias in his presentation. If it was there, it was very subtle, because I didn't pick up on it. But the interesting point was that we used to think the other political party, was wrong. That's now changed to where we think the other political party is evil.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's Republicans or Democrats. Also that like 92 or 93% of the voters cast their vote for a political party
Correct.
rather than for an individual.
Yep.
And that number has gone way up over the course of the last 20 years. Very interesting, and I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It'll eventually hit something, whatever that something is.
I've got to be so cautious in a social group to avoid politics and just assume the other person thinks different than I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a safe position to take.
Right. Yep. It's unfortunate, but it is. And much like everything in life and society and the world is that eventually it goes so far one way that
And
it
then it
eventually
swings
swings back. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we seem to be at least close to one extreme right
Well, that's
now.
why I think the New York Times and Washington Post can be relied upon because they compete in the marketplace. If they skew the news, they're gonna, affect their bottom line.
Yeah.
So they have economic incentive to tell the truth.
Turn.
If you knew that every time you pick up the New York Times, it was wrong, nobody would pick
No
up
one
the New
will
York
pick it up.
Times.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So one last thing that I didn't think about, but when I was talking about the Apple Store classes and the issue, the way I was able to talk to and get help with this is on, and you could probably get it. You can get it for your iPad too. Apple released, and I don't know why they didn't make a bigger deal of this. The Apple Support app. And so you can go in there, and if you've got your devices registered to your account, then it just pulls them up on your phone. And so then you click on that device that you're having issues with, and you can either have someone call you. I can't right now, sweetie. You can either call them, or I did text chat support, and in the app just was messaging back and forth on my phone. So that I could have my computer free to reboot and restart, and you can check all the services, and you can check the area in which, obviously we know Tacoma is the closest that you can go. They used to have, not that this is helpful, but there used to be the Apple Specialist store in the mall, but they closed, and they used to be an authorized. They were an authorized retailer, but they were also an authorized service center. But unfortunately, it closed, and so Tacoma truly is the closest. And and that's when I was talking to the guy on the chat, texting with him, or messaging with him, he said, well, you can go to your nearest store to take it in. And I said, that's 45 minutes without traffic. And he said, well, that's unfortunate, but your other option is to mail it in, and that is 7 to 10 days, business days, and that's assuming that there's no extenuating repair circumstances that happen with it. So, unfortunately, that eventually I'm gonna have to make a trip to Tacoma, and I'll do it when I'm doing something else, but I'll have to take it in and get it repaired. But it saves your history so I can go in there and look at the chat support that we had on the day that we had it, and see what was discussed and what routes and steps we took. And so it's just, I think it's really helpful, especially having multiple Apple devices, and just knowing that right there on my phone or my iPad I can start troubleshooting. And it said it was a 2-minute wait. It ended up being a 30-second wait.
And how do you associate your devices to the app? Or does it through your Apple ID?
Yeah, it does it through your Apple ID. And since it's my phone, and my Apple ID is on my phone, and it knows that it's my phone, as soon as I open the Apple Support app, all my devices were already listed in there. It knew that I was Brian Weinberger, et cetera, et cetera.
Let you know in a minute.
Yeah.
I have a question, actually.
I don't think I had to enter any information. I think it just knew. Yes.
Sorry, let me apologize. Actually, this is a question because I think you're probably way more over my head on this. When you went to the Apple Store in Tacoma, which is in the Tacoma Mall, is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, I guess everybody would. When I got this, and then for about a year afterwards, I took some of the classes that they offer.
Yep.
And when my granddaughter was with me, and this is kind of, I'm not sure, we're in a better path than you are. When I was there by myself, they kind of treated me like I was an idiot for what I have. And I don't mean to say it the wrong way, but that's how I felt I was treated. When my granddaughter was there, it was like 180 degrees the other way around.
How old is your granddaughter?
She's 28.
No, she's an adult.
Oh, no, yeah. And she's pretty, but she went in there, and when I tried to ask questions, while we're having a class, and they kind of snowed me over, and she'd just say, no, this is what he's asking, and steer them back. Again, not because I'm not smart enough with this stuff, I'm computer friendly. Did you find that yourself or no? I mean, I don't mean to,
Well, I
there's a
didn't
large
know-
age difference, but
No, I didn't know him with anyone else, no, I found them to be helpful.
when they were doing the classes?
Yeah.
Really? Well, I mean, they were, but they kind of,
Well,
they
and
went over my head faster than I could catch up.
but in all fairness, I took him at Apple store in Gilbert, Arizona, because I was down there for about a month.
Oh.
And it was only like 3 miles from where my daughter
Mm-hmm.
was, so that was quite convenient.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I just, this is
Yeah.
what I felt here.
So I think what you're alluding to is that the younger generation thinks us older guys
Yes.
are archaic.
Well, I mean,
Well, I think you can find, and it's not necessarily age. It may not have had anything to do with your age, Richard. It may have been completely based upon the fact that the person that you were interacting with that day
yes.
doesn't like their job, or
Yeah, good point.
we are in a, I don't know why, but I've been thinking a lot about this lately. But you go into a McDonald's and you order you go up to the person taking your order. Probably most of the time, that person has no real investment other than getting their paycheck for being an employee at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Versus someone, Beck and I love eating at the Fifth Avenue sandwich shop downtown Olympia. Fantastic sandwiches and soup and breads and pies and everything. That is a locally owned business, and the people there love their job. And the owner there, she is just, she treats you like you are her best friend. That is in her best interest because that is her business and that's her livelihood, versus someone who is maybe working at an Apple store. Some of them love that job because they love working for Apple, but some of them might not. Some of them might just be doing it to pay their bills to get to school. And so it may have been the person and not necessarily reflective of your
So
age.
you go on vacation Wednesday?
Yes.
Who's preaching?